Dan Ige has a challenge in front of him. Patricio Pitbull is looking to get his first victory in the octagon. And he said the thing that we all pretty much said is like, listen, man, you're a 5-round fighter. You've been the champ at Bellator. You don't got 25 minutes, though. You got 15. And he says that he didn't make the adjustments until the third round, even though he did pretty clearly lose just about every round of his last fight. So he needs to make these adjustments against Dan Ige. Now, the problem is you still got a dude who hits really hard, who does have a reach advantage in Ige, who is time-tested, man, and who just got a knockout win on Sean Woodson, a dude way bigger and longer. So now Dan Ige gets to be the big guy, and he gets a big boost, maybe? I mean, Patricio Pitbull, in the eyes of UFC fans who probably didn't care about Bellator, this win probably means nothing. But to the hardcores, we're like, yo, this is cool. But then again, Pitbull is 38 years old. So, back against the wall spot for Pitbull, in my opinion. Dan Ige does open as a minus 215 favorite. How do you see it?
Yeah, I see Dan Ige rightfully having the favorite in this one. I'm interested, Derek, because I feel like both styles are very complementary towards each other, right? We're going to see a fire versus fire, an ice versus ice match right here coming up. Dan Ige, I love the way he kind of fights because he's always looking to bring the show, right? And whether you're looking for counters, whether you're looking to put some combos together, whether you just want a dogfight, Dan Ige is there. Same thing goes for Patricio Pitbull. I think the only difference is Pitbull might have some craftier submissions than Dan Ige. Really, other than that, like whoever gets in their bag first, who's ever able to be the front foot fighter or get this fight to the ground, I think that's where the outcome's going to happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, do you have any confidence here in Pitbull? Is there a way for him to make this happen? Lay on some calf kicks, try to land the big shot? Because Pitbull has power too. You can't discount it. There's one thing that leaves you last, even as an old fighter in a division like this, and it is that power. How do you see it?
I think the way Pitbull is going to be able to win this fight, Derek, is lulling Dan Ige into having to put the pressure on him, right? Having Dan Ige forced to fight instead of both of them just sitting back, looking for counters, looking to set up traps. Patricio Pitbull is very, very, I like to say relaxed and controlled, right? He's sitting there, he's waiting, he's judging, he's seeing things happen, but then, like you said, he hits you with that power, and that's, if he's able to surprise Dan Ige on those counter strikes, on those moments where they are clashing in, I think he can have some success going forward, and then really get to work. I see him taking this fight to the ground, working submission game, or at least controlling Ige, so that way you don't have that frantic, fast-paced fight that Ige is really, really good at.
Yeah, I like where your head's at there. I just don't see Pitbull trying to grapple his way to a victory here. I think there is one really nice tool that he has, which is going to be the inside calf kick right there. If he could beat up the leg of Dan Ige and take away that mobility, you might be able to make this a little bit of an easier fight here. But if he cannot do that, I don't trust the volume coming from Pitbull to make this a hard enough fight for Dan Ige not to kind of cruise through it right here. Minus 215 again for Dan Ige. I think it's fair. I think name value does carry a little bit for Pitbull to kind of like raise his odd price more or less. But Ige is a guy that I feel like gets underestimated and overvalued at the same time in certain matchups right here. And in this one, I just think they're looking at him as kind of like a journeyman type and not like a dude who's like, yo, a couple good wins strung together and you're fighting the top guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny because I totally understand where you're coming from. And I do think a lot of the casuals, they see Dan Ige and all they think is, oh, he's a fun fighter. Like, nothing really too special about him. But man, this guy, he is top tier talent. And like you said, with a couple wins, like if he didn't lose that Diego Lopez fight, he's right there, right? He is right there in the mix with everybody. And I agree. I mean, I think as much as Patricio Pitbull doesn't have a name with the UFC fans, I think the brass of the UFC will respect this win a lot more than the casuals.
Yeah, bro. Look at these losses, man. Lerone Murphy, Diego Lopez, Bryce Mitchell, Movsar Evloev, Josh Emmett, Korean Zombie. Literally the best guys, pretty much. So I think that this should be a pretty easy fight to call right here. Dan Ige is going to be the play. Let's see if Pitbull can make it competitive. But this really is coming more than, aside from Kayla Harrison, I just don't trust these Bellator guys coming over anymore, man. Like we have a large enough sample size, I think, now to realize it's a different level of competition. And especially at 38 years old, at 145 pounds, fighting top tier opposition, just might not be able to cut it right there. So final piece right here. I'm a little bit more confident in predicting. I got Ige decision. The over is 2.5, minus 260 for the over, plus 190 for the under. But I like Dan Ige by decision on this one. What are you rolling with?
I like that as well, Derek. That's what I had written down. It's at plus 135 right now on FanDuel. So I really like this odd. I mean, how durable Patricio Pitbull is and how crafty both of these veterans are. I see a longer fight, and I agree with you. I think Dan Ige is going to be able to shine in this one with the low output that Pitbull has.